courts in criminal justice. This presentation will define the concept of courts. It will explain the function of courts within the criminal justice system. Finally, it will discuss the concept of jurisdiction and venue. Naga-define siya sa concept sa court, concept of court, o kanang naga-function po siya sa within sa criminal justice system, o kanang sa naga-concept po siya sa about sa jurisdiction and venue. Defining the court. Separation of powers. The judicial branch is separated. This ensures citizens' rights are protected. It prevents political pressures. The second one, constitutional framework. The Constitution created three branches. They are legislative, executive, and judicial. This framework ensures independence. The last one, enforcement limitation. Courts rely on the executive branch. This is for enforcing decisions due to their limited power. As a first na ang judicial branch daw ay kanang hiwalay o protektado siya para masiguro ang karapatan ng mga mamamayan at maiwasan ang political pressure. Ang ikaduha, naatay constitutional framework na kung saan ang constitutional ay lumikha ng tatlong branch ng gobyerno. Ang first na katong tulo ka buok na legislative, executive o judicial. Mo to ang tulo ka branch sa ato ang constitutional framework. Tapos para ma-ensure na to ang independence sa bawat branches. Sa ikatulo kay naa sila yung limitasyon sa ang kanang mga kapangyarihan sa korte na kanang labaw na sa kanang nagapatupad sa desisyon kay nag-aasa lamang na sila sa kanang nag-aasa lang sila sa legislative na branch. Tapos nag-aasa lang sila tapos kanang maong limited lang ilahang kanang kapangyarihan nila na gina-enforce nila sa court. Protecting the rights of the accused. Ang number one, reviewing the action of law enforcement. Courts ensure police do not violate rights. Ang ikuan na ng number one kay tinitiyak ng mga korte na hindi nila nilalabag ang mga karapatan ng mga akusado. Kanang gina-check nila ang gina-balance nila ang kanang ilahang safe thought, gina-check and balance nila para dili abusaran ang kapangyarihan sa pulis. Tapos sa ikaduha, evidence evaluation. They review evidence for relevance and admissibility. Kanang ginasuri sa mga korte ang mga ebidensya sa relevance and admissibility para tan-awon nila kung naabay kaugnayan ang ebidensya sa kaso, o kung maaari ba na pwede ni gamiton sa korte para ma-secure na ug mapatas na ang paglilitis sa korte. Determining guilt. Nana siya kanang tulo ka parts. Ang first kay legal means. Courts determine guilt through legal means. Ang second kay evidence presentation. They use evidence presented by law enforcement. And the third one, constitutional compliance. They ensure compliance with the Constitution. Ang kuan na ang naibanam to siya tulo ka parts. Ang legal means ato kay ang korte ang nagadesisyon gamit sa katong nagadesisyon ang court na kanang korte gamit ang katong gamit sa legal na paraan. And the second ka ang katong second kay evidence presentation, ginagamitan masabtan man dahil siya sa sa word sa pangalan pa lang ginagamitan siya og ebidensya na katong gihatag or gipakita sa mga kapulisan. Tapos ang ikatulo, constitutional compliance, ang kanang ginasiguro sa tanan na naayon sa konstitusyon ang ang kanang ang paraan para patas o legal ang pagproseso. Disposing of convicted criminals. Na siya tulo ka parts ang disposing of convicted criminals. Ang first kay background check. Courts examine the accused background. Ang second, circumstances. They considered crime circumstances. Ang katulo kay legal means. Courts consider all legal means of punishment. Ang tulo man to siya ka part. Ang una kay background check. Kanang ginasiguro ang background sa mga akusado. Tapos ang ikaduha, circumstances. Kanang ginapanaw nila ang pangyayari sa krimen, kanang parehas murag same sa suko mga ginaadto nila kanang murag ginasubaybasihan nila ang andong lugar nga na hitabuan sa krimen. Tapos ang ikatulo, ang legal means kay moto same sa kung gingon kaganiha na ginagamitan og kanang legal na paraan sa pagpaparusa nga kanang naayon sa kung sa ilahang gibuhat kanang kung grabe kayo iyang gibuhat na krimen, kanang ginaanuhan pod siya, kanang ginagamitan pod siya og kanang legal na paraan na nga para mabayaran niya iyang sala, para lahat pod or tanan pod na ayon sa batas.
Public safety. Ang korte ay may responsibilidad na unahin ang kaligtasan ng lipunan. Ginagawa nila ito sa pamamagitan ng pagtiyak na ang mga batas ay naipapatupad ng maayos o tama. Ang mga kriminal ay napapanagot at ang mga biktima naman ay nabibigyan ng hustisya. Incarceration. Ang korte ay may kapangyarihang ipataw ang parusang pagkakakulong sa mga lumabag sa batas sa pamamagitan ng pagbibilanggo sa mga mapanganib na individual. Maiiwasan ang patuloy ng paglaki ng krimen at para mapanatili ang kapayapaan sa komunidad. Probation. Hindi lahat ng kaso ay nangangailangan ng pagkakakulong. Sa ilang pagkakataon, lalo na sa mga hindi ganong mabibigat ang kaso, maaaring bigyan ng probation ng isang akusado. Ibig sabihin, sa halip na makulong, sila ay pinapayagang manatili sa labas ng bilangguan. Ngunit, may mahigpit na kondisyon na dapat nilang sundin. Ito ay paraan upang bigyan ng pagkakataon ang mga nagkasala na may tama ang kanilang pagkakamali nang hindi kinakailangang makulong. Appropriate penalties. Ang maayos at tamang pagpataw ng parusa ay malaking papel sa pagpili sa krimen. Kapag ang isang kriminal ay nabigyan ng nararapat na parusa ayon sa bigat ng kanyang nagawang kasalanan, nagiging babala ito sa iba na maaaring mawaring ng krimen. Mahalaga na ang parusa ay patas at naaayon sa batas upang mapanatili ang tiwala ng publiko sa hustisya. Deterrence. Ang pagpapataw ng parusa ay nagsisilbing halimbawa para sa iba na nagiging dahilan upang magdalawang isip silang gumawa ng krimen. Ang ideya ng deterrence ay nakabantay sa konsepto na kapag nakita ng tao ang kaparusahan sa mga lumabag sa batas, mababawasan ang kanilang kagustuhang gumawa ng illegal na gawain. Dito naman sa public safety, maaari nyong balikan yung unang video ko dahil kaparehas lang din yun na merong public safety. Resolving disputes. Ang korte ay may pangunahing tungkulin na resolbahin ang mga hindi pagkakaunawaan, maging ito man ay pagitan ng mga individual, negosyo o gobyerno. Sakop nito ang mga kasong sibil tulad ng pag-aari, kontrata at pamilya, at kriminal tulad ng magnanakaw, panloloko o pagpatay. Sa pamamagitan ng patas na paghatol, napapanatili ang hustisya sa lipunan. Government of law. Ang ating gobyerno ay nakabase sa batas. Ibig sabihin, walang sino man ang maaaring gumawa ng sariling desisyon kung paano ipatupad ang batas. Ang korte ay nagsisiguro na ang lahat ay sumusunod sa batas at walang sinuman ang maaaring gumawa ng sariling hustisya. Kung walang hukuman, maaaring magkaroon ng abuso sa kapangyarihan at kawalan ng katarungan. Preventing anarchy. Ang anarkiya ay isang estado ng kaguluhan kung saan walang umiiral na gobyerno o batas. Ang korte ay isang mahalagang institusyon na pumipigil dito sa pamamagitan ng pagpapatupad ng batas at pagbibigay ng hustisya. Kung walang korte, maaaring manaig ang law of the jungle o ang konsepto na mas malakas ang tama, kung saan ang may kapangyarihan lamang ang makakuha ng hustisya.
So, good day guys. I'm Jonathan Ayangkon Jr. and today I'm reporting the jurisdiction of criminal courts. So, let's start. And number one, we have Municipal Trial Court. So, Municipal Trial Court deals with violations of city and municipal ordinances. So, Municipal Trial Courts handles minor local cases, resolve everyday legal problems in your communication or village. So number two, we have original jurisdiction. It handles ordinance breaches and crimes punishable by imprisonment. So original jurisdiction means a court hear a case first. It's where a case started. So next, we have appellate jurisdiction. This is typically lacks appellate authorities. So appellate jurisdiction is a court's power to review lower decisions. So yeah, next. So we have jurisdiction of regional trial court. So here's the examples. Regional Trial Court or RTC handle cases beyond other courts' jurisdiction. And next we have original jurisdictions. So this is the crime exceeded 6 years imprisonment, not under Sandigang Bayan. So next we have appellate jurisdiction. Again, reviews MTC, MCTC, and METC. Decisions on ordinance violations and minor crimes. So next we have Sandigang Bayan jurisdiction over cases involving, so we have violation of RA 3019 or Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act, and we have RA 1379 and Chapter 2 Section 2 Title 7 of Book 2 of Revised Penal Code. So number 2, officials of execution branch at regional director level, grade 27 and higher. So, number 3, a colonelist in Philippines in Philippine Army and Air Force, naval captains, and officers of higher ranks. Number 4, PNP officers at provincial director level and those holding the rank of senior superintendent or higher. So, next we have appellate jurisdiction over decisions from regional trial court in case committed by public officers under its original jurisdiction. And we have Court of Appeals and review decision of lower courts. So next, we have the highest court in the Philippines. We have Supreme Court and original jurisdiction limited to case affecting ambassadors, other public ministers and councilors, and in petition for statutory prohibition, mandamus, quaranto, and habeas corpus, and appellate jurisdiction, review decisions of the Court of Appeals in Sandigan Bayan on question of law, may also review decisions of lower court if involving errors or laws. So that's all for my reporting.
How courts acquire jurisdiction, the filing of information. The courts acquire jurisdiction over the case primarily upon the filing of the information. Through crucial steps initiate the legal process vesting the court with authority to hear and determine the matter. The determination of whether court is proper court or jurisdiction hinges on an allegation presented in the information. These allegations are evaluated in accordance with the nature of the offense, the impossible penalty described by law, and the most important, the territorial indication where the alleged offense occurred. Proper venue is essential for due process. So, better explanation, sir, is the courts acquire authority over the case when the information is filed, which details the charges against the defendant. The court's jurisdiction is determined by factors such as nature of the crime, the punishment, and the location where the crime took place. This ensures that case is heard in the appropriate court, maintaining fairness and proper legal procedures. Next is the how many jurisdiction over the person the accused be acquired. Acquiring personal jurisdiction. Jurisdiction over an accused is obtained through arrest or voluntary submission to the authorities. So, in better explanation, sir, is that jurisdiction over the accused is established when they are arrested or voluntarily submitted to the authorities. This means the court has the legal authority to hear the case and take further actions. The accused's presence or consent to be under the court's authority is essential for the legal process to move forward. Next is the effect and failure to acquire jurisdictions. If the court doesn't acquire jurisdiction over the case over the person accused, it loses its authority to hear and or decide the case. When jurisdiction improperly acquired, the court outside its authority to hear and or decide the cases. Any decision rendered by such court shall be considered void due to lack jurisdiction. So to explain it, this guy is if the court doesn't gain proper authority over the case or the accused, it can hear or decide on the case. If the court gains jurisdiction incorrectly, it loses the right to handle the case. Any decision made by the court will be invalid because it didn't have the proper authority. So kung mawalang bisa siya, sir. Mawalang bisa siya kay wala may proper authority ang court. Siya. So, yung kaso, mali. Free. Next, distinction between judges and courts. In ordinary parlance, judges are spoken as a courts, and the courts are referred to when the person means judge. There is an important distinction between the court and entity and the person who occupies the position of judge. Courts may exist without a judge. There may be a judge without a court. So, in further explanation, sir, is in everyday language, people often use the terms judge and court interchangeably. However, there's difference between court itself, which is the legal body, and the judge, who is the person in charge. A court can exist even without a judge, and a judge can exist without a specific court or preside over. So, ang court daw, sir, guys, mga siya legal body, kaya mga ginagamit kung asa ng lugar, sir, kung asa siya held. Then, ang judge kay, like, person, sir, mga, person in charge. And lastly, of my part of my report is, what is the role of judge in a criminal case? So, in a criminal case, judge acts as referees to make sure that the both sides follow the rules and the law and evidence. When it's time for sentencing, the judge makes crucial decision about whether the person will be free or to go to prisons, and for how long. The judge is also responsible for deciding if the accused is guilty or innocent. So, ang judge kay mao na siyang ga-decide. Ang role sa judge sa criminal case kay siya ang ga-decide kung free ba ka o dili, siya mo unsa sa mga penalties sa mga kaso mo lang to. So, that's all, sir. Mao na akong report. And thank you.
Judicial qualification. All judicial positions required candidates to demonstrate proven competence, integrity, probity, independence. Supreme Court Justice must be a natural-born citizen of the Philippines, must be at least 40 years of age, must have served for 15 years or more as either a judge of a lower court or engaged in the practice of in the Philippines. Next is lower court, collegiate court justice. Must be a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. Must be a member of the Philippine Bar. Next is lower court judges, qualification and court discretion. Qualification of lower court judges, regional trial court or RTC. Must be a natural-born citizen of the Philippines. Must be at least 35 years of age. Next is court exercise of discretion. Lower court exercise judicial discretion in various aspects of legal proceedings, including but not limited to setting bail or condition for release, ruling on procedural matters during trial, imposing sentence, convicting or acquitting the accused, revoking probation or suspended sentence. Next is selection and appointment process for judges and justices in the Philippines. Judicial and Bar Council or JBC. The JBC plays a crucial role in the selection and recommendation process. Next is preparation of nominee list For every vacancy in the Supreme Court or lower courts, the JBC prepares a list of at least 3 nominees. 3. Presidential appointment. The President of the Philippines then appoints the member of the Supreme Courts and the judges of lower courts from the list of nominees submitted by the JBC. Next is motion to quash in criminal cases. A motion to quash in criminal proceeding is analogous to a motion to dismiss. It is legal maneuver employed by the accused to challenge the validity of the charges brought against them. In essence, the accused argues that the information is flawed and should be dismissed. Hypothetical admission. A motion to quash operates on the premise that the accused hypothetically admits the facts as state information. Next is grounds for a motion to quash. No offense, lack of factual basis, lack of jurisdiction over offense, lack of jurisdiction over person, and last, officer lack of authority. So, it is critical to remember that the court consideration is limited to the facts presented in the information itself.
Arraignment. So, what comes in our mind when we talk about when we say arraignment? So, for me, it's a first formal step in a criminal course where the defendant is brought before a judgment. They inform of the charges against them, and they given the opportunity to enter a plea. This usually happens shortly after an arrest. So, arraignment, it is not a trial, nor no one is found guilty or not guilty of this case, and no evidence or witnesses of this. So, understanding guilty plea. Guilty plea is when a defendant admits to committing a crime, waiving the right to a trial. This often leads to sentencing or a plea deal for a reduced charge or a lighter penalty. The plea must be made voluntarily and with full understandings or its consequences. For example, a person is caught stealing from a store and is charged with theft. So in court, they admit to the crime and plead guilty. Instead of going to trial, the judge moves forward with sentencing, possibly reducing the punishment if a appeal was made. The next is pre-trial. So when we say pre-trial, it's a stage helps prepare a case before trial by reviewing evidence, resolving legal issues, and encouraging settlements, settling trials procedures. It ensures a fair and efficient legal process. So what is the purpose of pre-trial? The first one is plea bargaining. It's a deal where a defendant pleads guilty to a lesser charge or gets a reduced sentence instead of going to a trial. The second is stipulated facts. It is a agree upon facts between both parties in a legal case, limiting the need to prove them in court. And next is marking or identification of evidence. It's a process of labeling evidence with an identifier, like a number or letter, to track and authenticate it before presenting it court. Lastly, such matter as will promote a fair and expeditious trial of the criminal case and civil aspects of the case. For example, a person is charged with theft. Before the trial, the court holds a pre-trial hearing where the prosecutor and defense lawyer review evidence, discuss a possible plea deal, and the judge decides on legal motions. This helps determine if the case will go to trial or be resolved earlier. So the next is trial. So when we say trial, it's a formal legal process where a judge or jury examines evidence and arguments to determine a defendant's it might be guilty or innocent. So for example, a person is accused of assault and pleads not guilty. In court, the prosecution presents evidence and witnesses, while the defense challenges them. After hearing both sides, the judge whether the person is the judge rather decides whether the person's guilty or not guilty. So the purpose of trial is to determine the truth, justice, and decide a defendant's guilty or innocence based on evidence and legal arguments. So there are order steps in trial. It might be opening statements, presentation of evidence, cross-examination, closing arguments, jury deliberation, and sentencing, or if it's guilty. One is judgment. Judgment refers to the formal decision made by a court regarding the guilt or innocence of a defendant, as well as the sentence or penalty imposed if the defendant is found guilty. It is the final ruling in a criminal case. For example, after a trial, a judge delivers the judgment in a criminal case, stating whether the defendant is guilty or not guilty of the crime they were charged with. If the defendant is found guilty, the judge also determines the appropriate punishment, such as imprisonment, probation, or fines. For instance, a judge might issue judgment convicting someone of theft and sentencing them to 5 years in prison. And lastly, appeal. So appeal is a legal process where a convicted person asks a higher court to review the decision made by a lower court. The appeal is typically based on claims of legal errors, violations of right, or new evidence that could affect the conviction or sentence. For instance, if someone is convicted of a crime and believes there were mistakes made during their trial, such as incorrect jury instructions or improper evidence handling, they can file an appeal. A higher court will review the case to determine whether the conviction should be upheld, reversed, or retried. For example, a defendant convicted of assault might appeal the verdict, claiming that key evidence was not properly admitted during the trial.